Man and woman. We normally see them as two separate individuals, and for the most part, individuals that look different, think differently, act differently, communicate differently, and even see the world in an entirely different light.
Well, I wonder why we see things like that. Maybe because that's the way it really is?
These differences are not always easy to understand, and within the context of a relationship, it's those irreconcilable differences that are usually the principal reason for the collapse of a relationship.
Yeah, gonna kind of have to go ahead and disagree with you on that one. It's been my experience that what makes relationships collapse is restraining orders.
And why, after our heart feels like it's been broken into fragments, we then cry out from within for someone or something to ease the pain.
And who answers that call better and more consistently than Mr. Chinico Anejo, the cause of and answer to all of life's problems?
It really hurt, didn't it? I know it did. But in time, we put ourselves back together again and start to look for someone who will hopefully understand why we are the way we are.
Yeah, psychiatry just hasn't advanced that far yet. Give it a couple years.
Now, the powerful attraction that man and woman have for one another is nothing less than an intriguing display of absolute beauty. But what I bet you didn't know is that your lover is more than just a body to hold.
As if holding is what I had in mind to begin with.
Now, I know you've heard of the formula E equals MC squared.
As a matter of fact, I have, but I'm gonna have to ask how we went from restraining orders, premium tequila, and psychotic shortcomings to E equals MC squared.
But what does it mean? Well, basically it means that energy is equal to mass times the speed of light squared. In other words, energy and matter are just different expressions of the same thing. And what is so interesting about us as people is that we are both energy and matter, and it's our thought that gives rise to them both.
Are you totally deranged?
What an amazing discovery this has been. E equals MC squared and relativity has literally redefined our entire understanding of the universe. Now let me share with you a new understanding about the unique energy we call man and woman. You see, in science there is something called electromagnetism, and here is a diagram of electromagnetism in action. You may remember this from school.
In fact, I do remember this from school. But your video claims to be about life coaching, not a refresher course in grade school science class.
Okay, here is a simple diagram of a man described through electromagnetism. As you can see, a man has a very large south pole.
Nah, too easy.
And a very small north pole, which represents the latent feminine energy. Understand?
No, I can't say that I do.
So in other words, within every man, there is a latent female energy inside of him. Hormones like testosterone and many others all play a part to maintain the brain and body of a man. Also make note, the battery in this diagram is like the brain of a man.
I can produce 1,000 women right now that will attest to the fact that a man's brain looks nothing like that.
Now let's talk about woman. A woman, when described through electromagnetism, has a very large north pole.
Okay, dude, if the women in your life have very large north poles, you're doing it wrong.
And a very small south pole. So in other words, just like the man, within every woman, there is latent male energy inside of her.
You did not just say that.
But of course, the human person is much more complex than this simple electromagnet. But the nature of masculine and feminine energy are indeed very similar to the nature of electromagnetism.
Now it's all starting to come together. Just gonna make my arm, into a giant Electromagnet. All right, hang on. Crap. Okay. All right, now I'm gonna attach both ends to the battery. Gonna get me some. Gonna get me some. Gonna get me some. Okay, here goes. Okay, everybody ready? Here we go.
Undeniable source comes from those people who ingest the hormones of the opposite sex. For example, if a man begins ingesting female hormones, his physiology will dramatically change. He may begin to take on the characteristics of a woman, like his hips may become more feminine-like, his skin may become soft like a woman, and he may actually grow breasts.
Yeah, and we already knew that from our days in prison.
See, the polarity of the opposite sex will begin to manifest itself through the body with the help of artificial hormones. These physiological effects are possible because within each person lie aspects of the opposite sex.
Would you fuck me, Tom? I'd fuck me.
The only boy who could ever teach me was the son of a preacher man. Yes, he was. He was.
Don't worry, I'm not going down that road.
Now, the population in the world today is just over 6 billion. That's a lot of people. And that's why I don't like to speak in absolutes. Because 6 billion of anything, especially people, leaves a lot of room for diversity.
Dog, did you see the size of that chicken?
And from within the diversity, there's the homosexual community.
Oh, God. Please don't go there. Please.
And even in here, we can see the polarity of energy manifesting itself within the human person. Because you have masculine men and you have feminine men. You have masculine women and feminine women. And usually the masculine and feminine energy are attracted to each other, even though they are the same sex. Now, people, please don't get confused.
You are describing human sexuality in terms of an electromagnet, talking about shooting each other up with hormones and playing Dr. Kevorkian waiting room music in the background, and you have the gall to tell anyone not to get confused?
What I'm really trying to teach you here is more about energy and its polarity, and not so much about sexualities, and those things are your choices. And
So in other words, you are a closet electrical engineer posing as an amateur, dulcimer playing, Birkenstock wearing, holier than thou, incompetent sex therapist?
here is a simple way of understanding this concept. Look at my hands. Let's say that this is a man.
Actually, I prefer to think of this as a woman.
And this is a woman. Now they come together and overshadow each other with our old ways of thinking. But now with this new understanding, we see this.
Cool. Lesbian scene.
We now have a man who is strong and powerful, but can also be gentle, loving, and caring as well. Or a woman who is thoughtful, communicative, but also courageous and fearless.
Yes, a lap dancer, so
I have so much more to say.
Oh dear God, I will never make fun of pangolins again. Just make him stop!
But that's it for now. This is Emilio. Till next time.
Well, what do you know? There is a God.
Never thought missing children could be so sexy. Did I say that out loud?
yes, a lap dancer, so much pain.